have been waiting for quite some time. I thought, let me build up the context and let's now come on the questions of branding. So I have a question for you. Um, what do you think that these are the brands in India which are made ubiquitous and local in its presence in India than in their parent countries? I think Samar mentioned something about it. Also, Harish mentioned something about it, but we would like to hear from you.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Shinu. Firstly, before I begin, I'd like to, thank all my co-panelists. I mean, I've just been enjoying listening to all of you. There's just so much to learn from what all of you have shared over the last couple of minutes. Just to add on to that, I think Samar, of course, put the context in a really, really nice structure. When you really think about international brands who've become ubiquitous or omnipresent, as they say, and almost perceived as Indian brands at times. Couple of names come to my mind. I mean, more from a strategic perspective, and they're not just brands who've done it just for the sake of, or running some sort of a gimmick, or making it sound like they can fool the customer. Like Mr. Sodhi said, at the end of the day, everybody is competing for the same customer. And if they don't have the right product quality or the right customer experience or the right or a consistent level of customer service, there is practically no way that whether you're a local brand or an international brand, you would be able to survive. One very interesting brand that comes to my mind, when you put up this question, is a brand called Bata. I think a lot of Indians
actually. I thought you'll talk about Maggi.
Yeah. But a lot of Indians actually think that Bata is an Indian brand, and actually it's not. It continues to be owned more than 50% by their foreign owners. So it's actually a brand from Czech Republic, a 125-year-old company, created by a very, very enterprising entrepreneur called Thomas Bata. And, when they actually came to India, I think this was way back in sometime around, early 1930s or something of that sort. Now, this gentleman, not just with respect to India, he had a very global vision. Every country he would go to, he would create something called villages by the name of Bata. The Bata Village kind of a concept. So even when he came to India, he wanted to create this concept called Bata Nagar, which was actually a city in West Bengal, very close to Kolkata. He created something called a Bata Ganj in Patna. And while he was in South Asia, he even created something called a Batapur near Lahore. That time, of course, it was kind of undivided, Indian subcontinent. And so if you see, intelligent entrepreneurs could be in any part of the world, and they recognize that if you have to become truly global, you have to actually start wearing the colors of that country. You not just putting it up in a logo or coming out with a localized campaign, but you almost have to completely gel with the local economy. You have to make people feel that they belong to you, you belong to them, and you start building a very deep level relationship, starting with real investments on the ground. That's one wonderful example. The other one, which is a more recent example, maybe it would fit into the hybrid category, as Samar mentioned, is the background that you see behind me is of a brand called Starbucks. It's one of those extraordinary brands, although created in the United States, but the way they penetrate global markets is a super hyper local strategy. So when they came to India, they didn't want to go all alone, unlike maybe an Apple kind of a brand who would be very, very purist. So they wanted to, Ajoy is from Tata Group, and he would recognize, Tatas have been invested in coffee plantations, for decades, and so Starbucks found a very able partner. Very interestingly, Indian coffee is considered amongst the best in the world, but nobody knows that. This is another issue. We're not very good with marketing our own products globally. And but this is what Starbucks recognized. They found a very able partner with whom they could source local coffee and sell it in their Starbucks branded stores. But if you really look at their strategy, how do they really go about penetrating any new country to get access to their customers? So it's a 50-50 joint venture, which is something which is extraordinary. Something which they did amazingly well, when they actually had their first year of launch in India, they actually created something called a India Estates blend. So this was a specialty coffee, a blend from some of the most amazing farms in South India. And the idea was that, can we create a coffee blend which is Indian in origin, very, very premium, first serve it to Indian customers and help them appreciate that we're already creating something extraordinary back in India, and then probably even take it global. So if you see, this is a company which actually chose to invest in that possibility. They started working with a lot of the farmers back here, and their entire approach is a very, very local integration. Of course, there's another example of which everybody knows. Of course, Unilever is pretty much ubiquitous. I mean, the kind of brands they've created. Many people think that Dalda was something which is very, very Indian. The fact is that Dalda is Unilever, right? So they're product brands created by large multinationals, which are absolutely Indian sounding, or they appear very, very Indian. So here we have to understand that it's not so much about only Indian entrepreneurs or Indian companies can create something which is very India centric. A lot of very successful global brands have made India their home, and they've actually localized significantly. I mean, brands like Vanaspati or brands like, Lifebuoy, it's totally amazing, how they actually created India-centric identities and became very, very successful. Some of them eventually went on to become global successes. So innovation made in India, but going global. The best example of that would be, I would say Ayurveda. Or yoga for that matter. It's pretty much ubiquitous globally. In fact, as Indians, we didn't value yoga and Ayurveda as much, until we found that there was a big global market getting created outside India. And suddenly, thankfully, with our respected Prime Minister paying a lot of attention to this particular sector, we actually felt that ये तो हमारी चीज है, इसको तो कम से कम हम own up करने की कोशिश करें. And I think so owning up our own stuff, owning up our own pride, owning up our own innovations, what is really known as our indigenous identity, I think is now happening a lot better. In India, I think we are more proud of our origins. Somewhere down the line, we had lost our identity, maybe with multiple decades and centuries of external rule, or however you may call it. But in the end, we are a better nation. We have learned how to mix with global economies, global cultures. We are more deeply integrated. A lot of Indians, as Samar mentioned, are extremely successful globally. They're a true representation of what India is today as a brand, and they actually create that image of India, which is beyond, the nation of snake charmers. And I think that sense of pride is now very deeply ingrained in Indian entrepreneurs. I end up working a lot with entrepreneurs, not necessarily always the large multinationals. And I can tell you very clearly that, even someone with a very small company today aspires to build a global brand from India. And at times we have to create that path for them. We have to help them build those kind of capabilities and, convert passion into tangible results. So with that, I would like to conclude my initial part here that, for all of those who are listening, many of you are going to become, entrepreneurs in the future. Do consider that path, and do think about not just creating a product which is very, very local in nature, because at times you may end up compromising on the quality, because a lot of Indian consumers don't always expect a very high quality product. Try to have a global consumer in mind and challenge yourself to create the best possible product out there. And then think about it, how it's going to be very relevant for India. Just to add here, the multinationals do that really well. When they come to India, they invest extensively into what we call as market intelligence. They understand the Indian consumer better than we do, and end up creating products for Indian consumers, sometimes even sitting outside India. So we need to build that culture of developing a very scientific mindset, that understanding the consumer, giving them a product which is truly, truly world-class, packaging it really nicely, because at the end of the day, the brand does matter. It's a story which sells, and then taking it to the market. So if we can do that efficiently, I think we actually have a great recipe for actually building Indian brands which can go global. and that would be a real sense of pride, for many of us sitting here.
Very true, Saurabh. I think the point well taken that, deep level of relationship has to be built with the customer. And I think most of these brands have been doing that, whether we talk about Bata or Starbucks or Unilever. I think they all live within our homes. And what you said is very right. We need to spend money in market intelligence. I think many of Indian companies, and especially startups or entrepreneurs, maybe sometimes due to lack of money or some other reason, they do miss out on that. So thank you, Saurabh. My next question is to Hiralal ji. स्थानीय उत्पादों ने संकट के समय में हमारी मांगों को पूरा किया है. हम इनका पोषण कैसे कर सकते हैं? आपने बांदा के डीएम के रूप में जो पहल की है, आपने इसके बारे में आगे कदम उठाया. आप हमें इसके बारे में कुछ और बताइए.
देखिए, ऐसा मैं सबकी बातें सुन रहा था, सब ब्रांड की बात कर रहे हैं जी. अगर 70% आबादी गांव में रहती है, वो ब्रांड का यूज करती है क्या? 70% आबादी जो गांव में रहती है वो ब्रांड नहीं यूज करती. हम अगर 70% के लिए काम करें, दिक्कत तो हमारे यहाँ यही है कि जो 20% पे पूरा फोकस 20% पे है, 70% पे फोकस है ही नहीं है. तो मैं अभी आप एक बात और ये सुन रहा था कि वोकल फॉर लोकल, इसको कई एंगल से लोग घुमाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. वोकल फॉर लोकल कुछ नहीं है, इसका दूसरा नाम है, जिसको कि हम लॉकडाउन के पहले वहां कर रहे थे. इसको हम लोगों ने नाम दिया था लोकल कंजम्पशन बाय लोकल प्रोडक्ट्स. इसको सही अर्थ में, सही प्रोस्पेक्टिव में समझने के लिए हम लोगों ने जो लॉकडाउन के पहले वहां काम कर रहे थे, उसका नाम दिया था लोकल कंजम्पशन बाय लोकल प्रोडक्शन. देखिए, हम जो आपसे वहां उस समय बात कर रहे थे कि अगर हम गांव के डिमांड को लिस्ट कर लें, उसकी क्वांटिटी लिस्ट कर लें, उसकी क्वालिटी लिस्ट कर लें. गांव में ब्रांड बहुत नहीं चलता है, दतवन करना है. दतवन करने के लिए हम पहले नीम की दतवन करते थे. वो नीम की दतवन हर तरह से फायदेमंद है. हम नक्शेबाजी में या फैशन में या जो भी कह लीजिए, क्या आदत को हमने बदला. आज भी मैं नीम की दतवन करता हूँ, मेरी आदत में है. और उससे अब आपका अगर एक गांव में टूथपेस्ट जा रहा है और अगर आप नीम की दतवन, जो कि ज्यादा फायदेमंद है टूथपेस्ट से, वो करने लगे, तो देखिए डिमांड ऑटोमेटिक घट गई. तो जो हमारा गांव का डिमांड है उसकी लिस्टिंग की जाए, उसकी क्वांटिटी किया जाए और कोशिश किया जाए कि जो चीज हम गांव में पैदा कर रहे हैं ठीक है, उसका तो डिमांड हम मेट कर रहे हैं. जो हम आउट ऑफ डिस्ट्रिक्ट ला रहे हैं, हम डिस्ट्रिक्ट को एक बाउंड्री लेते हैं, उसको उस गांव में पैदा करने की कोशिश किया जाए. मैं एक उदाहरण देता हूँ. इस काम को हम लोगों ने किया. हमारे गांव, हमारे जनपद बादा में 3 मंडी समिति है, जिसको एपीएमसी कहते हैं, एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोड्यूस मार्केटिंग कमेटी. हमने इसकी लिस्ट बनवाई, उसकी एनालिसिस की कि किस प्रोडक्ट का कितना हम पैदा करते हैं जनपद में और कितना बाहर से लेते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हमने टोमेटो को देखा. मैं एक उदाहरण के रूप में कह रहा हूँ, मेरे पास एग्जैक्ट डाटा याद नहीं है, कि मान लीजिए हम पूरे साल में टोमेटो 100 किलो यूज करते हैं बादा, और 20 किलो टोमेटो तो हम बादा में पैदा करते हैं, 80 जिले के बाहर से मंगाते हैं. तो उस 20 किलो पैदा करने वाले गांव को हम टोमेटो क्लस्टर के रूप में डेवलप कर रहे थे. इसी तरह से इसी छोटी सी एनालिसिस पे हम लोग टोमेटो क्लस्टर, पोटैटो क्लस्टर, ब्रिंजाल क्लस्टर, चिली क्लस्टर, सो दैट जो हम जिले से बाहर से मंगा रहे हैं उसको भी हम जिले में पैदा कर लें. एक बात. दूसरी बात यह है, दूसरा एक और भी हम लोग कॉन्सेप्ट ला करके वो अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं. लखनऊ गोमती नदी पे बसा है, कानपुर गंगा नदी पे बसा है, इलाहाबाद संगम नदी पे बसा है. नदी पे बसने की वजह से ये सब शहर बहुत ऊंचे भाग गए, कितना विकास हो गया, पूरे देश में अच्छे शहर बन गए. हमारे बांदा में 3 नदियां बहती हैं, बागे नदी, यमुना नदी और केन नदी. इन तीनों नदियों पे बसे गांव की मैंने मैपिंग कराई, 110 गांव थे. तो अगर कानपुर डेवलप हो सकता, लखनऊ डेवलप हो सकता, इलाहाबाद डेवलप हो सकता, बिकॉज ऑफ देयर सिचुएशन. What is that situation? Situation is that they are on the river side. तो 110 गांव का विकास क्यों नहीं हो सकता? इस पर हमने काम करना शुरू किया था, बहुत अच्छे रिजल्ट आ रहे थे. हम इसको लखनऊ कानपुर की तरह विकसित करने के लिए काम उन्हीं, अगर वो हो सकता तो क्यों नहीं हो सकता, इसका आंसर ढूंढ रहे थे और बहुत अच्छे रिजल्ट आ रहे थे. इसको हम लोगों ने ये विलेज डेवलपमेंट के कॉन्सेप्ट पे काम किया. देखिए, ये जो अभी बात हम लोग कर रहे हैं कि वोकल फॉर लोकल, ये काम करने के लिए हमें अपने ऊपर विश्वास नहीं है। हम वही चाइना का झालर लगा लेंगे तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है। हमें अपने क्रिएटिविटी में, हमें अपने चीजों में विश्वास ही नहीं है, या हम उसको एंजॉय नहीं करते हैं। ये सोच चेंज करनी पड़ेगी, और इस सोच चेंज करने के लिए SBCC करना पड़ेगा, सोशल बिहेवियरल कम्युनिकेशन चेंज करना पड़ेगा। हमने बांदा में यही किया। अगर आप स्वयं खाना बनाएं तो चाहे कितना खाना खराब हो आपको बड़ा अच्छा लगता है, लेकिन वही आपकी अगर मैडम बना दे तो चाहे कितना अच्छा बनाए तो आपको बुरा लगता है। क्यों? आपको अपने क्रिएटिविटी में डिग्निटी दिखती है। तो जब तक हम अपने काम में डिग्निटी नहीं देखेंगे, जब तक इसको हाईलाइट नहीं करेंगे, तब तक बात नहीं बनेगी। और ये पूरा पर्सपेक्टिव जो हमने किया, हम लॉकडाउन के पहले तो मुझे पता नहीं था कि ये लॉकडाउन होगा, ये भी परिस्थिति देखने को मिलेगा, ये होगा। मेरा ये प्रैक्टिकली जो हमने अनुभव किया, हमने काम और किया जिसको मैं शेयर करना चाहूँ। हमने ब्रांडिंग करी, ये सब बड़ी बड़ी ब्रांडिंग, अमूल्य और ये सब बातें करें, मेरी ब्रांडिंग सुनो। हमने क्या किया कि बुंदेलखंड के पल्सेज बहुत फेमस हैं, वो ऑर्गेनिक है, न्यूट्रिशियस है और टेस्टी है, लेकिन ये बुंदेलखंड में के अलावा इसे कोई नहीं जानता। तो हमने क्या किया, पल्सेज डे, यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑन 10 फरवरी सेलिब्रेट पल्सेज डे, ऑन सेम डे on the foothill of the Kalinjar Fort I organized a pulse day। और वो अरहर, उसका नाम दिया अरहर सम्मेलन, और अरहर के खेत में चारों तरफ अरहर का खेत, और उसमें एग्री टूरिज्म का भी हम कॉन्सेप्ट लाए। एग्री टूरिज्म का कॉन्सेप्ट क्या लाए कि हमारा वो एग्री इवेंट के बाद वो लोग टूरिज्म कर लिए, फोर्ट देखा, तो एग्री टूरिज्म का कॉन्सेप्ट। आप ये समझिए कि उसमें हमने एग्रीकल्चर के 5 पद्मश्री बुलाए, हर गांव से 10-10 प्रोग्रेसिव फार्मर बुलाए, पूरे बुंदेलखंड के मंडियों से स्टेक होल्डर बुलाए, साइंटिस्ट बुलाए, 10,000 लोगों का एक जमावड़ा किया। और अब मुझे सूचना मिल रहा, हमारा वहां से ट्रांसफर हो गया, हम फरवरी के पहले आ गए, लॉकडाउन के पहले, डिमांड डबल हो गई। क्यों? ये जो ब्रांडेड हमारा पल्स है पूरे बुंदेलखंड का, इसके बारे में, अरे जो हमारा है, जो ब्रांड क्वालिटी है, हम उसी की मार्केट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। बस बड़ी बड़ी लंबी लंबी बातें, 100 वाले में थोड़ा सा हम लोग ज्यादा, जो मेरा पर्सनल अनुभव है, मैंने तो देसी देहाती तरीके से, बताइए, मेरा ब्रांडिंग था, उसका नाम दिया था अरहर सम्मेलन, अरहर के खेत में, और 5 पद्मश्री बुलाए, और 5 पद्मश्री में 5 जिसको एग्रीकल्चर में मिला था। तो इस तरह से ये भी हमारी ब्रांडिंग, और पूरे बुंदेलखंड का पल्स का डिमांड डबल हो गया। वहां से फोन आ रहे, साहब हम लोग सप्लाई नहीं कर पा रहे। मेरा ये मानना है, ये वोकल फॉर लोकल का कॉन्सेप्ट है कि जो हम लोकली कंज्यूम करते हैं, पहले इसको हम लोकली प्रोड्यूस कर ले। और ये जो 20 और 30% ये हाई फाई वाला मामला जो भी मैं सुन रहा था, मैं तो अपने आप को गांव का रहने वाला हूँ, तो थोड़ा देहाती मेरा फुट भी है, मैं देहाती हूँ भी, और मुझे बड़ा अच्छा लगता है ये कहने में, क्या कि मेरा बैकग्राउंड और मेरा टच और मेरी स्टाइल, ये देहाती। एक बात और भी है, गवर्नेंस का जो सिस्टम है, जो गवर्नेंस का सिस्टम है, इसको भी चेंज करने की जरूरत। अभी गिव टेक है, सरकार दे दे, सरकार सब कुछ कर दे और लोग जो है मौज करें। ये जो गवर्नेंस का सिस्टम है, ये इसको चेंज करना पड़ेगा हमें लोगों को। मैं आपको एक उदाहरण देके अपनी बात को यही कहना, एक गाड़ी है, वो खड़ी है, तो ये है, आगे से गाड़ी लाओ, टोचन लगा करके उसको धक्का लेके स्टार्ट कराओ, ले जाओ। एक दूसरा स्टाइल जो हम अभी कर रहे हैं, दूसरा स्टाइल क्या है कि गाड़ी खड़ी है, उस पर एक गाड़ी जो है, समझिए एग्रीकल्चर की गाड़ी है, उस पर किसान को ड्राइवर के रूप में बैठा दीजिए, और 4-5 लोग पीछे से धक्का दो, उतने देर दो जब तक कि वो स्टार्ट नहीं होती है। वो 4-5 लोग कौन है? एग्रीकल्चर डिपार्टमेंट के सारे विभाग। कौन है? एग्रीकल्चर है, हार्टिकल्चर है, सॉइल कंजर्वेशन, प्लांट प्रोटेक्शन, फिशरीज, देयर आर सो मेनी। ये 5 लोग धीरे से धक्का दे दे और गाड़ी अपने आप चल जाए और ड्राइवर लेके चला जाए। ये नहीं हो टोचन करके खींच के लिए चले जा रहे हो। अभी ये जो टोचन वाला स्टाइल है, ये कामयाब नहीं है और सस्टेन नहीं है। तो मेरा ये मानना है कि हमें अपने आदत में भी बदलाव लाना। पिछले 2 महीने से मेरे बहुत सारे दोस्त नॉन वेज नहीं खाए। क्यों नहीं खाए? नहीं रोज खाते थे। क्यों नहीं खाए? अगर हम अपने आदत में यूं बदलाव ला सकते हैं। तो हमें अगर अपने गांव में सेल्फ सस्टेन बनाना, मान लीजिए सब्जी 5 तरह की होती है, हमारा टेस्ट है कि हम परवल की सब्जी खाएंगे, और वहां के गांव के क्लाइमेट में परवल की सब्जी नहीं हो सकती, तो ठीक है भिंडी खाओ, आलू खाओ, टमाटर खाओ, बहुत सारे साग सब्जी होता हो खाओ, परवल के ही पीछे क्यों पड़े हो भाई, है? चेंज योर हैबिट। तो देखिए ये जो वोकल फॉर लोकल है, ये हम जो क्लस्टर सिस्टम बना रहे थे उसका नाम दिया था लोकल प्रोडक्शन बाय लोकल कंजम्पशन बाय लोकल प्रोडक्शन, और बहुत अच्छा कामयाब हुआ। मैं आपको बता दूं, हमारे पास बाराबंकी में दौलतपुर में एक रामशरण वर्मा नाम के किसान है, हाई स्कूल फेल हैं, पद्मश्री हैं, IIM मिला। लखनऊ को एग्रीकल्चर डिपार्टमेंट को या किसी भी सरकार को कोई अच्छा काम दिखाना होता है तो रामशरण वर्मा जी क्या ले जाते हैं, जो हाई स्कूल फेल हैं। और रामशरण वर्मा 10 साल पहले केले की खेती से शुरू किए, और मैं आपको बता दूं बाराबंकी जिला नहीं, आसपास के 15 जिलों का केले की पूरी मंडी उस आदमी ने क्रिएट कर दिया। दैट्स व्हाई ही गॉट द पद्मश्री। और आलू टमाटर वो 3-4 वैरायटी पकड़े हैं, एक तो आलू पे उनका कमांड है, एक टमाटर पे कमांड है, और एक आध और केला के वो मास्टर है, केला वाले वर्मा जी। अगर ये हाई स्कूल फेल आदमी 15 जनपद के तस्वीर को, इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन को बदल सकता है, तो हमने बांदा में करीब 5000 लोगों के दिमाग की बत्ती जलाई है, इन डिफरेंट ग्रोथ सेंटर क्रिएट करके, उनका बिहेवियर चेंज करके, उनको टूर करा करके, उनको 110 गांव में जल पे चौपाल करवाया रात, जहां मतलब नदी किनारे रिमोट में कोई अधिकारी नहीं जाता था, सबकी ड्यूटी लगाई और हमने कहा चलो जल की चौपाल लगाओ। लखनऊ और कानपुर और इलाहाबाद की तरह इसे विकसित करना है 110 गांव को। हमारे अधिकारियों का भी दिमाग खुला, क्या एक सोच पैदा करने की बात है, दैट इज द बिहेवियरल चेंज। SBCC क्या, सोशल बिहेवियरल कम्युनिकेशन चेंज। तो मैं आपको बताऊं ये जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, मुझे जो लगता है, मेरा पर्सनल मत है जो मैं प्रयोग करता हूं, हम लोग बड़ा बड़ा बातें बहुत लंबा लंबा चीजें करते हैं, और जो हमें छोटे छोटे स्टेप में करना चाहिए, जो हम आसानी से कर सकते हैं और जिसका रिजल्ट बड़ा है, वो नहीं करते। आप एक चीज बताइए, मैंने कालिंजर फोर्ड के अरहर के खेत में अरहर सम्मेलन करके पूरे बुंदेलखंड के पल्सेज की क्वालिटी को चारों तरफ इतना हल्ला किया, इतना हल्ला कराया कि डिमांड डबल हो गई 2 महीने में, और खर्चा मेरा कुछ नहीं गया। क्या नहीं तो ब्रांडिंग करने में कितना खर्चा होता है, ये सीनू मैम बहुत बड़ा बजट बनाती होंगी ब्रांडिंग की, क्या ब्रांडिंग में पैसा खूब खर्च होता है।
वाकई में आप मिसाल है, आप जैसे कई अफसरों की जरूरत है, और हमारे यहाँ HMR यूनिवर्सिटी में एक स्कूल ऑफ रूरल डेवलपमेंट है। हम चाहेंगे आप आइए और आप हमारे बच्चों से मिलिए और उनसे भी बात कीजिए और उन्हें इस बारे में बताइए। आई थिंक ये कम्युनिकेशन की भी इंडिया में बहुत जरूरत है, जहां आप जैसे लोग जो इतना अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं वो देश के कोने कोने तक पहुंचे और लोगों को उसके बारे में पता चले। क्या होता है कि ये जो इन्फॉर्मेशन है वो कहीं हद तक एक जगह तक सीमित रह जाती है और लोगों को उसके बारे में पता नहीं चलता है। तो हम जरूर चाहेंगे कि सर ये बात और लोगों तक भी पहुंचे।
1 मिनट और लूंगा बस, क्योंकि मुझे बांदा में जब मैं जा रहा था एज ए कलेक्टर बनके, तो मुझे लोगों ने बताया कि यहाँ पानी की बहुत समस्या, मैं रोज पढ़ता था टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया और दैनिक जागरण में। जब मैं वहां गया तो लोग आए मुझसे पानी मांगने, कलेक्टर साहब पानी दे दो, और कलेक्टर साहब के घर के बंगले में पानी है ही नहीं, तो कलेक्टर बेचारा खुद ही पानी लिए तरह तरह दूसरे क्या दे दे। समस्या देखिए, सोच देखिए, जनता समझती थी कि पानी की समस्या उनकी और समाधान कलेक्टर के पास। हमने उनकी सोच क्या बदली, हमने कहा देखो समस्या आपकी है तो समाधान आपके गांव में आपके पास है। हमने जब मेरे पास लोग आते हैं, हमने कहा एक चीज बताओ, पानी कहाँ मिलता है? कुआं में मिलता, तालाब में मिलता, नदी मिलता, ये तीनों चीज कहाँ है? तुम्हारे गांव में कुआं है भैया, आपके गांव में नदी है और आपके गांव में तालाब है। तो तुम्हें 50 किलोमीटर, कलेक्टर बेचारे खुद ही उनके पास पानी नहीं है, जमीन में नीचे वाटर टेबल गायब है, नीचे चला गया। आए हो, मैंने जब सोच बदली, हमने कहा नहीं, समस्या आपका, समाधान आपके गांव में, आपके समस्या और समाधान को उसी गांव में जोड़ दो, हम जोड़ने में आपकी मदद करेंगे। आई चेंज दिस फिलॉसफी, और मेरा वाटर कंजर्वेशन मॉडल पूरे देश में फेमस हो गया है। मुझे रोज वेबिनार या जाना पड़ता, मुझे बहुत सारे अवार्ड मिले। तो देखिए सोच बदलने की जरूरत है। ये जो गिव एंड टेक वाली सोच है, पहले क्या था, कलेक्टर का घेराव करो, कलेक्टर पानी नहीं दे। अब मेरे पास कोई नहीं आता था, वो कुआं खोदने लगे, कुआं सफाई करने लगे, तालाब खोदने लगे, बरसात का पानी स्टोर कर लिया, पूरे साल पानी पी रहे हैं, दिक्कतें मिनिमाइज हो गई। तो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट बेसिक्स। हमारा थोड़ा सा वी नीड टू रिफाइन, वी नीड टू लुक इनटू द बेसिक्स। लोग
सही है
हमारा
सर। आई थिंक प्रेसिडेंट सर भी हमेशा हमसे यही कहा करते हैं, समस्या आपकी है तो समाधान भी आप ही का है। आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा सर। और लेकिन प्रॉब्लम ये है कि दुनिया में लोग ये कहते हैं बदलाव तो आए पर मेरे बदले में ना आए। That's the always problem. Thank you, sir, so much. Ajay, my next question is for you. One of the intent behind Vocal About Local is to save the economy by saving jobs and livelihood. Suri sir also talked about that. Tanishq is one of the few players who have end-to-end integrated operations. How are you looking at this?
Yeah, thanks, Shinu. So I think it's important that whenever we look at jobs, livelihoods, and we look at investments, I think the sentiment behind Vocal for Local is investment comes into the country, not just from externally, but also from our own companies which are Indian, and we create jobs and livelihoods. So we have always believed in building deep expertise in the value chain. So we come as a manufacturer, we think of developing our own products, we work with our own designs, with our own manufacturing units, and we also work with vendors. So just to give you a sense, we work with about 500 partners only in jewelry. And if I add jewelry, watches, eyewear, and many others, we'll be working with more than 1,000 partners. The important thing in creating livelihood is about building scale. अगर हम local की बात कर रहे हैं, तो we have to ensure many customers. It is about millions of customers, so that we have volume which is in millions. And that scale is what gives us the opportunity to build leadership. As we build leadership, we are able to then create an ecosystem. In Tanishq or in jewelry, the ecosystem, as I said, is 400 partners and 20,000 people. Between Karigar to the people who are selling, people who are creating the jewelry and people who are selling jewelry at the stores. So when we think ecosystem. Second important thing is that each of the people who are employed, they may be employed by us or they may be employed by our dedicated vendors or with vendor partners with whom we work. I will just share with you some of the things we've done. Firstly, I talked about dignity of work. Do they have a human working condition? 2, are they getting ESI? Are they getting PF? Because that is itself not there. We had to do that. Is there safety? Because some of the materials they use is not good. It is toxic. जब वो jewelry बनाते हैं, तो the fumes can be very toxic for them. So we introduced completely new practices in which they work. Ergonomic. अगर आप देखोगे वो कारीगर ऐसे काम करता है, तो after 40, his entire thing is gone and they go back to the villages. अभी हीरालाल जी ने गांव के बारे में कहा, गांव से आते हैं हमारे कारीगर और फिर वहीं पे जल्दी. So how do we enhance the livelihood and the life of the artisan? And by giving dignity, उनके जो next generation है, that next generation also comes into this field because they see it is a good professional job, जहाँ पे उनको अच्छी salary मिलती है, जहाँ पे उनको अच्छी कमाई होती है और dignity से उनकी treatment होती है. Fourth, for all the karigars who work with Tanishq, even though they may not be employed by us, they may be employed by our vendor partners, we have given 100% health insurance coverage for all the people across. So these are important practices. Once we bring this level of practices, the industry starts changing. See, Tanishq finally is only 5% market share in a very large industry. But because they have seen what Tanishq has done, all the vendors, all the industry, all the players have started saying, we want to become like Tanishq. We want to follow the same practices. And slowly, we are able to build influence in the entire ecosystem. There are, as I said, 10 lakh plus karigars in this country. How do we completely transform the ecosystem? I think that comes with scale, that comes with thought leadership. I also wanted to share that during the lockdown, there were a lot of challenges we were all facing. So the first thing we did was, let us reach out to all the 20,000 people in our ecosystem. They may be working with our vendor partners, they may be working with our franchisee partners, they may be our own employees. Zero defect when it comes to safety. First of all, we had to educate them कि ये coronavirus क्या है? What is the problem with the coronavirus? And how you should protect yourself. This is in the beginning of March when the situation had started, growing in India. Second, we said, okay, if you're going to be on leave for the next 2 months, can we keep you positively engaged? So we started doing capability building. Karigar ke liye humne design, we created design workshops. Every vendor told us that no other player came and spoke to us and spoke to our Karigars to ensure that they are fully engaged and energized. We ensure that we create Karigar parks and centers in our business where people live. They get home cooked food. We have actually Bengali, all the Karigars are Bengali. So we actually get Bengali cooks who cook home cooked food for them. We ensure that they are living and operating in a very positive environment. Third thing we have done during this entire period is we said, how do we take the quality up? So instead of them sitting idle and feeling miserable, we said, okay, let us run capability building and quality workshops for them. So in a way, what I'm trying to say is that agar hum pure ecosystem ke bare mein sochein, that is when we can bring about total transformation. It cannot happen only by simply marketing or simply saying that I am local and therefore you please buy my product. No, we must do. What are we doing? Hum kar kya rahe hain aur bol kya rahe hain? First we must do, and then people should say. We shouldn't say, people have to say about us. I think the net summary, if I were to say in terms of creating livelihoods, it is about building purposeful businesses. To me, building good brands is one story, but building a purposeful business which is sustainable. Is the product coming from the right places? Are we ensuring that the planet is well taken care of? Are we ensuring people are well taken care of? Are we ensuring that they have the best practices, whether it's safety or work practices? तब जाके एक प्रोडक्ट बनता है और तब जाके एक इम्पैक्ट होता है. And that particular product, then, you know, we have called it as a Dua Ka Sona. When you buy products from Tanishq, they are blessed by the good wishes and the positive blessings of the 11,000 odd Karigars who work behind the scenes to create such beautiful products. I agree with Hiralal ji sir, that the magic is lying in the hands and the Karigari and the craftsmanship of these Karigars. Can we take it to a higher level and create a certain impact amongst all people? I think that is what the role of a local brand is. That is what the role of a purposeful brand is. And build livelihood by building scale. Without scale, you cannot build livelihood. And scale will come only if you create product leadership and business leadership. So that's been the mantra for us. Even in the case of watches, even in the case of jewelry, even in the case of eyewear, unless and until we build scale, you cannot build livelihood. Second important thing, investment. I think it's important that we manufacture in India so that investment comes into India. Only when investment comes into India that the local environment benefits. We talk about, you know, when we say Tata Group, the Tata Group talks about improving the quality of life wherever we work. And whenever we create any investment, the profits that we earn out of that go back into the community many times over. Because as you know, Tata Group is actually owned by Tata Trusts, and which does entire philanthropy activity. 66% of ownership of Tata Sons is with Tata Trusts, and Tata Trust does only philanthropy. So the model is such that what comes from the community goes back to the community many times over. And I think that's the true way to build livelihood. That is the true way to make a difference in the lives of people.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
True.
Sheena. Sheenaji, over to you.
Absolutely true, Ajay. I think we have known Tata as a brand which is known for its people, its best practices, and of course, creating a purposeful business in India. The one name that people look for when we talk about a brand, a company which is truly live up to standards, is, I think, is Tata. Thank you so much, Ajay. My next question is to Samar. Samar, do you think we will see sudden surge in local, domestic, or Indian products, you know, consumption in the market, you know, now after this mantra being rolled out?
First of all, Hiralal ji talked about behavior modification, vyavahar mein parivartan lana, and I full marks to Ajoy for speaking partly in English and partly in Hindi. That was brilliant. And of course, you know, being from the Tata Group and you know, Tanishq, that was really appropriate. See, regardless of whether they buy Indian or foreign, consumers want their lives improved. Sodhi Saab said very clearly that people don't buy Amul products because they're Indian, but because they are very appropriate, they're always available, there's great quality at decent pricing, and so on and so forth. Now, there is a fact that Indian consumers are amongst the most aspirational, yet also the most sensible consumers in the world. I mean, I've worked in many parts of the world, and I think while we have aspiration, there's a lot of native sense that we have as well. मतलब हर चीज को ठोक पीट कर नाप तोल करके हम लोग खरीदते हैं. And just because you're foreign does not mean that you will succeed. I mean, a classic example, and I will never get hired by them, I suppose, is P&G. You know, well, globally, P&G is much larger in personal care than Hindustan Unilever, whereas in India, it's exactly the other way around. You know, P&G's entire philosophy, they have a foreigner CEO, their entire philosophy, their communication, the way they think is not Indian, and therefore they've not done well. Heineken was another example of a brand that we launched, or हमने one world, one Heineken कह करके. Heineken is a very bitter brand. It is highly priced. It is available in only very few stores. Plus हम लोग sponsorship में क्या करते हैं? Champions League football tournament sponsor करते हैं, Rugby World Cup sponsor करते हैं, James Bond की picture sponsor करते हैं. Now this has limited applicability in a country like India. You know, I was once in an argument with the Chinese ambassador's wife many years ago, and she had said कि जब मैकडॉनल्ड्स चाइना में खुला था तो लोग 4-4 दिन लाइन में खड़े थे इसके खुलने के इंतजार में. तो मैंने बोला भैया हिंदुस्तान में ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा, हो सकता है लोग 4-5 घंटे खड़े हों, उससे ज्यादा नहीं खड़े होंगे. That's exactly what happened. McDonald's opened their first store in Vasant Vihar in Delhi, and people stood for 4 or 5 hours in line, and you know, over a period of time it tapered out. So just because you're foreign, you will not succeed in India. You need to Indianize your menu, your thinking. You know, look at Pizza Hut, Domino's, they've all had to Indianize their menus.
Very true.
Now, the contrary view, Shinu, is just because you're Indian does not mean that you will succeed. कि आप भारतीय कंपनी है तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि सफलता आपको मिलेगी. अब किसी ने पतंजलि की बात की थी. Patanjali is the quintessential Indian company, and frankly, they've been struggling in the last couple of years. They've lost distribution, they've lost their revenues, actually declined. They've had quality issues against their product, you know, quality complaints from consumers. Distributors have resigned and left them and gone. Employees have resigned and gone, and they've had many issues. Paperboat is another example of a slightly more recent company started by young sort of entrepreneurs, and they've had issues of funding and scaling up, and also sourcing and quality issues, and they've had a sort of a W curve. So just because you're foreign or Indian does not mean that you will succeed in India. Hence, there will not necessarily be a surge in Indian products or foreign products. A small consumer segment perhaps may change their buying habits, and that too temporarily, but the majority will continue to buy what they want. हीरालाल जी ने बात बताई हमें कि कैसा उन्होंने काम किया है. मैं हीरालाल जी का ईमेल लेकर के उनसे अलग से बात करूंगा कि हमारे फादर इन लॉ ने जब ट्राइफेड शुरू किया तो उसमें भी हमारा काफी तजुर्बा था और काफी क्लोजली हमारी पूरी फैमिली हीरालाल जी IAS ऑफिसर से भरी हुई है. बट where the surge will be, Shinu, will be in food and beverage sales. It will be in personal care products. It will be in household cleaning and sanitation products, healthcare and wellness, immunity building products. I know I do some consulting for Dabur, and the Chyawanprash sales are through the roof. Medical, life and health insurance. I have friends who are CEOs of health and health insurance companies, and their sales are growing at 40% year on year, you know, or month on month in the last 4 or 5 months as a result of the situation around COVID. Digitalization, if such a word exists, I think that will definitely surge. Basically, Shinu, anything that improves the quality and safety of your life is what will face a surge. Now, as far as only Indian products are concerned, and without meaning any disrespect to anyone, imagine a world where there were only ambassadors and Fiats and no Hondas and Hyundais and BMWs. Imagine a world with only Doordarshan and All India Radio and no Star TV, no Nat Geo, no FM radio, no Netflix, no Disney, no Amazon Prime. Imagine no Imagine
I'll have an heart attack.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is people are watching these channels and this content not because it is foreign, but just because it is superior content, because the consumer has moved on. And perhaps many of these brands have failed to keep pace. And like I said to you, just because you're foreign does not mean that you will succeed in India. I launched a brand called Heineken. We have struggled for years to make that a success. And, I've had similar sort of experiences in some other organizations. Now imagine if you want to be local, what about 3G, 4G, 5G, and they're talking about 6G technology? I don't think the person who's using this really cares whether this is Indian or Chinese, as long as the technology dramatically improves the quality of my life, where makes maybe streaming movies, seamless, downloading products very easy, and lightning speed internet. All the old brands fell by the wayside because consumers wanted their lives improved. And those brands, they felt, were not relevant anymore in terms of improving their lives. Now, as far as the economy is concerned, all of us know that we were in a slowdown even before the COVID-19 situation. And that slowdown is not an overnight creation. It has been happening for 2 or 3 years. And therefore, that's the minimum I expect it to take to really arrest the decline and, perhaps gallop in the opposite direction upwards at the same percentage rates, which also post-COVID and then hence post-opening up, what does a company do? Companies would want to ensure that they recover as quickly as possible, which means they would want to sell their largest selling and fastest selling brands, which necessarily mean that their most popular brands would typically start coming up on the shelves in disproportionate quantities compared to what they were earlier. I work with Britannia, and Varun Berry was telling me that they've done their sales for the last 3 months in 2 months' time. They may not have succeeded in selling the entire range because the range has not been available, but partly because of household stocking and pantry stocking. In terms of volume, and considering they're a food and beverage snacking company, they've actually grown 50%. So consumers, companies will make the fastest selling, largest selling, most popular brands available, and that is what consumers will buy. One last thing where I do think there will be a change will be in the local buying through Kirana stores. And, I saw Mr. Sodhi's interview in the Economic Times today where, Arvind Mediratta, Sunil Kataria, and, a couple of other FMCG colleagues of mine have been quoted. And that was music to my ears, because in the 32 years that I've worked across Cadbury's, Pepsi, Levers, Dabur, UB, the Kirana store, you lived and died at the Kirana store. That was the focus of your existence. I mean, they know each consumer. In many cases, you shop for 20, 30 years in the Kirana store. Maybe when you were younger, the father used to sit there and today the children are sitting there, and so on and so forth. So I think the personalization that they bring in, and frankly, they've really acquitted themselves with flying colors in this COVID scenario. So I think there will be a surge in products that basically improve the quality and safety of your life. But I do believe that there will be a surge and a certain return of interest with consumers in going back to Kirana stores and local, the local mom and pop stores, as they call them in the overseas markets. Sheenu.
We have precisely 13 minutes, but Samar, just to add on to this, what do you think will be the one key point as a potential differentiator today for the brands to follow?
Sorry, I couldn't get that question.
What could be the potential differentiator for the brands today?
I read since I do a lot of consulting, I read a lot of people calling me, clients asking me what should we do in the COVID scenario, etc. And frankly, if you look at everything that is happening around you, it's what you should be doing in business in any case, right? Which is cutting costs, conserving cash, conserving capital, not investing in capex unnecessarily, repairs and maintenance only if they're absolutely essential, trying to get more from the same cost base, trying to look at additional channels of business, trying to launch new products on the same distribution network, not investing unnecessarily in overheads like sales offices and, anything that adds to your cost base without adding to your top line base. But one would think that that's what you should be doing during normal times as well. So I think also remember that people keep talking about the new normal. I don't think, I'm a bit of a contrarian on this. I don't think there is any new normal. Yes, there will be some, social distancing and some work from home, etc. happening. In the long run, the day a cure is found, the day a vaccine is found, I think people will go back to being exactly where they were. You cannot change thousands of years of evolution overnight. What is certain is that the economic cost of COVID-19 will be much higher than the cost of the loss of human life. I mean, let's face it, Shinu, this is not the first time a pandemic has come. You know, we've had we've had wars and famines and tsunamis and earthquakes and, you know, floods and Ebola and Nipah. And by the way, they're not gone. They're still there. They keep flaring up now and then. There's Zika, there's AIDS, SARS, MERS, etc. This too shall pass. Human beings are relevant and resilient. And I think, you know, one day this will all be behind us and we'll be talking about, oh, you remember back in 2020, 21, there was a period when we had to work from home for 6 months. And you remember that social distancing and stuff. I mean, people have already started coming up with designs for masks, you know, creative masks. So, you know, human beings are resilient. It's a serious situation, of course. We need to act responsibly. But if you're telling me that there's going to be a permanent, tectonic, irreversible change, I'm sorry to rain on your parade. That is not going to happen.
True. I think this too shall pass. There is nothing permanent except change. We all have to accept that. Thank you so much, Samar. Saurabh, suddenly everybody has started taking pride in their local brands. You know, everybody for that matter. Do you think it's only a branding strategy or they really connect to local realities?
No, I think we've just had so much to discuss in this last, you know, over 1 hour, you know, about this. But, you know, what I can tell you is that it's not like people are going to suddenly shift to new choices. Okay, yeah, you know, you have those one-off media news piece which says that people are undownloading or deleting maybe Chinese apps and things like that. But, you know, these are not things which would sustain, you know, I mean, it's just a trend. Let's call it like a trend. It's not a sustainable change. In the end, like Samar also mentioned and all the fellow panelists shared, that people consume products that serve some sort of a benefit to them. And as long as good quality products keep getting created, good quality experiences and services keep getting created to be consumed, I don't really think that people are going to switch their preferences just for that. I think we do have an example of Patanjali created over the last couple of years where we did see a significant shift, you know, in preferences. You know, I think it was one big consumer behavior change that we saw. People moving from the regular chemical toothpaste to maybe the Ayurvedic toothpaste. But then if you look back, the same companies who were doing the regular toothpastes also innovated very, very quickly and they could capture back their market share. So I think it boils down to, you know, capabilities, you know, so organizations need to invest in capabilities. They need to continue to innovate. Jaise Hiralal ji ne bhi bola, you know, innovation and creativity is required across the board, whether it's the rural, the consumer, the rural farmer, or it's back in the big cities. So the people who will really survive are the ones who are not sleeping. Let me put it like that. And as I think Samar also mentioned that, you know, you better be doing some of these things anyhow. Matlab ye to वैसे भी करना ही था. Just that the crisis wakes you up. You're in some sort of a slumber and some dreamy world that the world is perfect. But what this does is it wakes all of us and says that, you know, how do we reduce wasteful expenditure and, you know, how do we become more relevant for our customers? And if companies and brands can be very awake, very present, very in the moment, they would continue to be preferred by their customers. And I think that relationship is very one-to-one. You know, every organization needs to know who their customer is. They need to know what they're giving them on a very, very consistent basis and almost perpetually. You know, and as long as that value creation is never ending, I think customers are not going to be changing their preferences overnight. That's what I feel.
I think we'll see a company versus company war also in Indian brands, like say ITC versus Unilever, or, you know, for that matter, any two companies fighting against.
You know, unlikely. You know, because all of these are large conglomerates. You know, they are into multiple categories. I mean, Unilever, for example, is over 20 categories. I mean, you know, hundreds and thousands of SKUs, right? Same with ITC, very, very successful Indian conglomerate. You know, very respectfully Indian, you know, in their approach and the way of thinking. I think there is no space for competition in that sense where you need to compete with each other. What people are really competing for, you know, is consumer attention, you know, and trying to become more and more relevant for the consumer. And this is where I think organizations or brands have to be more aware. that the consumer is actually changing preferences. They're becoming more conscious about the quality of products they consume, whether those products are healthy for them. Big shift. In fact, Ajoy mentioned about it. It's a very interesting thing. आजकल क्या होता है कि जब कोई brand create करता है तो उसके पीछे की एक story होती है, right? What you can call as behind the label. If the product I'm consuming, was created by people who are not being paid well, or if it was created in a way that it harms the environment, even if it's not directly impacting me, as a consumer, I'm deeply concerned, and that changes my preference. So I think as long as brands appreciate and relate to these changing mindsets, which are very, very global and at the same time very Indian at the moment, I think Indian consumers are very intelligent today. They're asking these tough questions. There is enough, communication out there in the digital media to make them ask those questions. जब तक अच्छे सवाल consumers पूछेंगे तो अच्छे brands create होंगे. And all I would say to all the consumers is keep questioning and keep challenging, the products and the brands that you consume, and that will basically bring the best out of us. And that big change has actually happened.
Very true, Saurabh. I think we as a consumer should always be aware of our rights and keep asking the right questions to remain the brands also relevant in the market. Ajoy, my one very important question to you, aligning with the mantra, how do you see Indian companies or MNCs changing their strategy to cope up with the new environment? What is the one best approach they should take today?
So I'll structure my response in two parts. One part is which everybody is doing, should be doing. I think there has been a big digital push and a big push because customers have changed their habit. And in about 8 weeks or 7 weeks of lockdown, the habit change has become so significant that e-commerce companies did not create for the last so many years by discounting. So there is a real need for leveraging digital, and there is a real customer response towards that. I think the other big thing is customer convenience. So can I shop from the comfort of my home? It need not be digital. It could be a video call. It could be appointment-based selling. I could come home and serve you the same products, home delivery, so on and so forth. So these are very important shifts that most brands will adopt. The faster ones will go out there quickly and adapt and innovate. We are seeing very good response to both Tanishq and CaratLane brands, which are doing it very, very aggressively. And we are seeing a lot of customers actually thankful that we are able to do it. Another important piece, which is hygienic, everybody has to do, I think building customer confidence. Every brand and every retail store and every product has to ensure that the customer feels confident to step out and come to my store, because they should see a certain world-class safety standards, and that is the most important. On top of it, if you ask me, if I go a little deeper, I personally believe that there is going to be a post-COVID world. It's personal. I know a lot of things change and people will say this too shall pass. But I think in this post-COVID world, especially if I were to look at the millennial customer and I look at the younger customer, many of them are in their 20s and maybe early 30s also, some of them. They would have not witnessed anything like this. This is going to leave a deep impression on them. We know that millennial customers are looking for authentic, wholesome companies and brands which are able to deliver a purposeful and a sustainable business. They are asking these tough questions. I believe from here on, see, we have seen a small virus, whatever it is, it may come and go, has actually brought the world to a halt. Now, if the world has come to a halt, nature is trying to tell us something. That is, Earth and the current economic model are at cross purposes with each other. So building something which is truly sustainable and wholesome is very important. And I think the millennial customer, the younger customer, is going to ask even tougher questions from brands and companies of the future. So how are you adding value back to the planet, not taking away value? How are you taking care of all the wholesomeness that needs to come out? Government cannot do everything. Even companies have to behave responsibility. We have to behave responsibility. So I think sustainability and purposeful brands is going to get a big, big push in the long run. Maybe it is a 5-10 year thrust that we will see, which otherwise something people were glossing over. So these are my responses to your question.
Thank you so much, Ajay. I think I can truly relate to it, especially having a millennial back home. I have a daughter, she's 7 years old, and I could see all the effect of, Corona back home and the kind of questions that she has been asking. And I'm sure every other kid at the home facing the same sort of issues. Very true. Sodhi sir, one last question to you. I mean, you coming from Amul, and all of us have grown up eating, drinking Amul products, and we have seen the sustainable business model of Amul. What is the message that you would like to give to the today's youngster, that they should take care of? So can you unmute?
Yeah, sorry. I see, based on whatever experience I have of food, right now is no doubt last few decades in food, business is moving more towards local brand. 3 decades back, housewife wanted to buy multinational brand, then they came to national brand. Now everybody wants to buy local brand because local they feel is more meeting my taste and other, it's more fresh and more affordable. This COVID, this thing has been accelerated because when nothing was available, local brands have come and they have tried. So I think in the food or young entrepreneurs, the best time to enter, try to become a brand, gully brand leader, then a mohalla brand leader, then a city brand leader, and then go for state and then. And because food now people realize local is better. So this is what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think the deliberation was so fruitful and I got so many points to talk about it, right from quality to good product to consistency, innovation, creativity, behavior change, cutting the cost, consuming the capital seriously, remaining relevant to customers, reducing the wasteful expenditures. All these are the things that each one of you have pointed upon in various ways. And I think that's something that we all need to think through. Thank you so much, each one of you, for, the wonderful discussion and sparing your valuable time at this hour with all of us. Thank you, Hiralal ji. Thank you, Sodhi sir, Ajay ji, Saurabh, Harish, Samar, for this wonderful discussion. Thank you, Pankaj sir, for facilitating this event and giving me opportunity to moderate this evening and talk to these lions of the industry.
Really great.
And,
thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. My special thanks to Times of India for being our media partner, and also to my marketing and IT team for giving all the support. Thank you so much. Due to paucity of time, we could not take the questions, but I'll personally ensure that we'll answer to all your questions through emails. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for joining us.